Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people walk out of a room and you forget them instantly, while others leave and you can't stop replaying their smile, their words, their energy? The truth is, making a man miss you badly isn't about playing games or pulling away. It's about becoming so unforgettable that your absence feels like a void he can't ignore. Imagine for a moment that the man you want is sitting across the room. He sees you, he feels something when you smile, but then the moment passes. Now here's the real question. When you walk away, will he feel your absence? Will his mind replay that smile, those words, that energy you carried? Because missing you is not about the moments you're together, it's about the space you leave behind when you're not there. Most people think that making someone miss them is about pulling away, ignoring messages, or playing some version of the hard-to-get game. That might create a flicker of curiosity, but it doesn't create a deep longing. What makes someone miss you badly is the emotional imprint you leave in their life. Think about the people you've missed before. You didn't miss them because they weren't texting you. You missed them because when they were around, they made you feel alive, valued, and excited in a way that's rare. So the first step is to stop asking, how do I make him miss me? And start asking, what do I give him to miss? Every person is attracted to energy that lights up their world. If you're always available, always agreeable, always bending to his rhythm, he won't miss you because you've made yourself an extension of him. But when you show that you have your own rhythm, your own passions, your own world that he gets a ticket into when he's lucky enough, you become unforgettable. When you're with him, make the time extraordinary, even in small ways. Be playful when the moment is dull. Listen deeply when he's sharing something real. Challenge him when he says something you don't agree with, not in a harsh way, but in a way that shows you're engaged, that you have your own mind. Most people miss people who make them feel something different from the ordinary. That's what creates the memory loop in their head, the craving for more. And here's the paradox. The way to make him miss you badly is not to obsess over him at all. When your life is so rich, so full, so magnetic that he feels privileged to be part of it, he's already missing you the moment you walk out the door. It's not about being distant for the sake of distance. It's about being so complete in yourself that the time apart feels like a vacuum to him. Think about the last time you binged a series you loved. The reason you couldn't wait for the next episode wasn't because the show was begging for your attention. It was because every time you pressed play, it gave you something thrilling. You didn't want it to end. That's how you want him to feel about you. Each time he's with you, you're not just there. You're alive, unpredictable, curious, present. You turn everyday moments into memories. When you leave, don't rush to fill the silence with constant messages or updates. Give him the gift of missing you. Let him wonder what you're doing, who you're with, what you're laughing about. That space is not emptiness, it's where his desire grows. But here's the secret, he won't desire you just because you're gone. He'll desire you because when you were there, you gave him a taste of something he doesn't want to lose. Never underestimate the power of boundaries. When you respect your own time, when you don't drop everything at the sound of his text, when you protect the things that matter to you, you signal that you are valuable. People don't miss what they can have whenever they want. They miss what they can't quite predict, what they can't always access, what has to be earned. It's not about playing cold. It's about holding your ground in who you are. Another thing that makes a man miss you is contrast. If all your interactions are the same, constant texting, predictable routines, there's no anticipation. Surprise him, switch things up, be spontaneous. One night, leave the conversation with a smile and say, "I'll tell you the rest another time." Leave him hanging on a note of curiosity. People don't miss what's complete, they miss what feels like there's more to discover. Think about the qualities that make someone unforgettable. Humor, passion, mystery, a touch of vulnerability mixed with confidence. If you bring those into the relationship, he'll carry the memory of you like a song stuck in his head. And when you're gone, he'll feel the silence more sharply because he's used to your presence lifting the energy of the room. But this isn't about pretending to be someone else. If you try to fake mystery or play games, it feels forced. True magnetism comes from living a life that excites you, being curious about the world, nurturing friendships, chasing goals, doing things that give you stories to tell. That way, when you're with him, you're not pulling everything from him. You're bringing something new into his orbit. Missing someone is ultimately about emotional association. If every time he thinks of you, he remembers drama, neediness, or negativity, he won't miss you. He'll feel relief when you're gone. But if he associates you with lightness, laughter, connection, and warmth, he'll crave you when you're not around. That's why it's not about absence, it's about presence. Your presence has to be strong enough that your absence feels like a loss. Don't underestimate the role of gratitude and appreciation either. When you genuinely value him, when you notice things about him others don't, when you express it in a way that's sincere, he'll feel seen. And people miss those who see them clearly. But don't make the mistake of giving all your appreciation and none to yourself. The balance is what makes you magnetic. If you can celebrate him while still shining in your own right, you create the perfect storm of desire. Finally, remember this: making someone miss you isn't about manipulation. It's not about tricks or withholding affection. It's about cultivating a life and an energy that's so rare, so compelling, that when you're gone, the void is undeniable. It's about showing him a version of connection that isn't easy to replace. That's what lingers. That's what stays in his mind when the night is quiet and the phone isn't buzzing. When you walk into his life as a woman who knows her worth, who elevates every room she enters, who loves deeply but doesn't abandon herself, you don't need to ask how to make him miss you badly. He just will, because you've become the kind of person who leaves an impression too strong to forget. And here's the beauty of it. When you reach that point where your presence is unforgettable, you stop worrying about whether he misses you, because deep down you know you bring a kind of richness that isn't easily replicated. That confidence radiates without you needing to chase validation. You become the rare person who doesn't need to beg for attention, because attention naturally flows to you. Desire is strongest when someone realizes they've touched something extraordinary and they're not guaranteed another taste. It's not about being perfect. Perfection is intimidating, even unapproachable. What makes someone miss you badly is when you show both your strength and your softness. The moments you laugh so freely that it lights him up. The times you share something vulnerable in a way that makes him feel trusted. The way you can be playful one moment and deeply thoughtful the next. Those contrasts create layers, and layers are what stick in someone's mind. And you're gone. Think about the people who stand out most in your memory. It wasn't because they texted constantly or hovered over you. It was because their energy was rich, their presence unique, their impact undeniable. They left a mark on your soul, and even when they weren't physically there, the echo of them stayed with you. That's the kind of presence you want to cultivate, not just for him, but for yourself. Because when you embody that, missing you becomes effortless. Missing someone happens in the quiet moments. It's when he's driving home and a song comes on that reminds him of something you said. It's when he tastes food that makes him think of the night you playfully critiqued his cooking. It's when he laughs at a joke and wishes you were there to laugh with him. Those moments don't happen by accident. They happen because you created experiences that linger. The details matter, the way you tilt your head when you're amused, the way you playfully challenge him when he tries to tease you, the way you listen without judgment when he shares something vulnerable. Those are the imprints that follow him long after you've left the room. But here's the trap most people fall into. They think creating those imprints means constantly giving more, over-delivering, proving themselves at every turn. That actually has the opposite effect. When you flood someone with attention, when you smother them with constant availability, you rob them of the chance to miss you. Think of oxygen. You only appreciate it when it's scarce. If it's always there without thought, you take it for granted. The same is true with presence. Give him space to feel the contrast between having you and not having you. When you're apart, don't fill the silence with anxious texts or updates. Let there be space. Let there be anticipation. Anticipation is a powerful form of desire. When he doesn't know exactly when he'll see you next, when there's a little unpredictability, he invests more thought and energy into you. It's human nature to want more of what feels uncertain and valuable. Another key to making him miss you badly is to live in alignment with your passions. When your life is vibrant outside of him, it sends a powerful signal. You're not waiting by the phone. You're building, growing, exploring. That kind of independence is magnetic. When he sees that you're lit up by your own pursuits, he doesn't just miss your company. He misses the fire you bring, the way you elevate everything around you. Let's also talk about self-respect. When you honor your boundaries, when you walk away from situations that don't serve you, when you show that you value your own time, you immediately raise your worth in his eyes. Respect always creates attraction, and absence tied to self-respect is far more compelling than absence tied to games. If you're not available because you're busy living a life you love, that absence makes him want to chase. If you're not available because you're trying to manipulate him, that absence makes him suspicious. One pulls him in, the other pushes him away. Missing someone also comes from the way you communicate, not just the words you use, but the energy behind them. Do you leave conversations open-ended? Do you let him feel like there's always more to uncover with you? Or do you give everything away too quickly, leaving no mystery behind? The art of conversation is knowing when to pull back, when to let curiosity linger. It's the difference between handing someone a book all at once and giving them chapters they can't wait to keep reading. And let's not ignore the power of joy. People miss joy, they miss laughter, they miss positivity, they miss light. If you become the person who consistently adds light to his day, he'll notice the shadows when you're not around. That doesn't mean being fake or pretending to be happy all the time. It means bringing authenticity, humor, and warmth into the moments you share. A man doesn't miss someone who drains him. He misses the one who lifts him. Think also about exclusivity. If everyone has access to your energy in the same way, it's not special. But when you reserve your most intimate sides, your deepest thoughts, your most playful humor, your genuine affection, for the man who earns it, he treasures it. He doesn't just miss you as a person, he misses the privilege of accessing the version of you that not everyone gets. Scarcity creates value, and value creates longing. Sometimes what makes someone miss you isn't the big grand moments, it's the subtle details, the way you gently touch his arm during a conversation, the inside joke only the two of you understand, the encouraging words you gave him right before something important. These micro moments become anchors in his memory. Later, when he's alone, those anchors pull him back to you. He doesn't even know why he's thinking of you, it just happens because you embedded yourself in the small spaces of his life. The more you focus on becoming magnetic in your own right, the less you'll find yourself worrying about whether he's missing you. Because men miss women who are rare, women who carry themselves with dignity, who don't compromise their worth for temporary attention, who can walk away knowing they won't lose themselves. That's what makes someone unforgettable. It's not about chasing, it's not about clinging, it's not about convincing, it's about being so whole that the absence of you feels like the absence of color in a black and white world. There's also power in contrast between intensity and lightness. When you can have deep conversations that touch his soul, but also burst out laughing at the most ridiculous moments, you become multidimensional. That duality creates addiction. He misses you because you gave him both comfort and excitement, both depth and levity. People rarely miss monotony. They miss the unpredictable mix of emotions that keep them on their toes. And above all, remember that missing you is not the goal. The goal is to live in a way where your energy is naturally missed, where your absence is naturally felt, because you've cultivated a presence that's rare, rich, and real. When you live with that kind of intention, you don't need strategies or games. You simply become unforgettable. And when you're unforgettable, being missed is inevitable. And when you're unforgettable, something fascinating happens. You no longer measure your worth by whether someone thinks about you in the quiet of their nights. Instead, you measure it by the joy and meaning you create in your own life. The paradox is that this exact mindset, this detachment from needing to be missed, is what makes you missed the most. Because neediness pushes people away, while fullness pulls them closer. A person who is whole without you becomes magnetic, while a person who depends on you to feel whole becomes heavy. There is a difference between someone enjoying your company and someone craving it. Enjoyment is casual, light, replaceable. Craving, on the other hand, comes from a deeper place. It's when someone recognizes that being with you leaves them elevated, inspired, and ignited in a way they don't find elsewhere. Craving is born when you stop showing up as ordinary and start showing up as extraordinary. And extraordinary doesn't mean flashy, loud, or trying too hard. Extraordinary means deeply authentic. Extraordinary means unapologetically yourself. Extraordinary means living with such conviction and passion that your presence becomes like oxygen to someone who never realized how much they were starving for air until they breathed you in. But how do you create this kind of extraordinary energy? Start by refusing to shrink. Too often, people dim their light in the presence of someone they desire, thinking it will make them more likable, less intimidating, easier to accept. But the truth is, when you dim your light, you blend into the background. You become forgettable. The very thing that would have made you missed, the spark, the boldness, the radiance, gets buried under layers of fear. If you want someone to feel your absence, you must let them fully experience your presence first. That means letting yourself shine, even if it scares you. Missing you is about contrast. Contrast between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Contrast between what he feels when he's with you versus when he's not. If his life feels dull, predictable and numb without you, but vibrant, alive and charged when you're around, he will naturally long for your presence. This doesn't mean you need to perform or constantly entertain. It means you allow yourself to embody joy, playfulness and depth in such a way that you shift the atmosphere when you enter a room. Imagine walking into a space and immediately changing the energy without even trying. Not because of what you wear, not because of what you say, but because of the confidence and ease you radiate. That's the kind of presence that leaves echoes long after you're gone. That's the kind of presence that creates longing. And the beautiful part, that presence doesn't require you to chase, convince, or prove. It simply requires you to cultivate inner fulfillment so rich that others feel it every time they're near you. Another powerful truth: people miss the way you make them feel about themselves. When you listen to someone without judgment, when you celebrate their wins, when you challenge them to rise higher, you awaken parts of them that might otherwise stay dormant. They miss you because they miss who they are around you. Think about it. When someone makes you feel like the best version of yourself, don't you naturally crave more of their presence? That's the secret. It's not about tricks. It's about being the mirror that reflects someone's potential back at them while never losing sight of your own. And yet balance is crucial. If all of your energy is directed toward lifting him, he won't miss you. He'll rely on you. That's not desire, that's dependence. To create true longing, you must remain rooted in your own power. Give him the gift of being seen, yes, but also give yourself the gift of boundaries, of space, of autonomy. That tension between closeness and distance is what makes absence powerful. He cannot miss you if you never allow him to be without you. Consider the art of mystery. Mystery isn't about hiding who you are, it's about revealing yourself in layers. When you meet someone, don't lay your entire soul on the table immediately. Let them discover you slowly, like chapters in a book they can't put down. Each time they think they've figured you out, surprise them with another dimension. This isn't manipulation, it's pacing. It's allowing space for curiosity. And curiosity is the seed of longing. Missing you isn't always born from the grand gestures. Often it's sparked by the little quirks. The way you laugh so hard you snort. The way you sip your coffee slowly as if it's a ritual. The way you use certain phrases that become inside jokes, only the two of you understand. These tiny details are what stay lodged in his mind at unexpected moments. He'll be sitting at his desk, hear someone else laugh, and suddenly wish it were you. He'll see someone order the same drink you love, and instantly you'll flood his thoughts. The small things are often the biggest anchors. But remember, you can only create these imprints if you're truly present in the moment. Too many people spend their time worrying about what's next, obsessing over how they're being perceived, or calculating the perfect move. That energy blocks authenticity. Instead, surrender to the moment. Laugh fully, listen deeply, speak honestly. Be fearless about showing who you are, even if it means not everyone will approve. Presence creates memory, and memory creates longing. Another layer to making someone miss you badly is unpredictability. Routine is comforting, but predictability kills desire. When he knows exactly what you'll say, exactly when you'll call, exactly how you'll respond, he begins to disengage. But when you occasionally surprise him by suggesting an adventure, by ending a conversation on a high note, by pulling back when you could lean in, you spark intrigue. Intrigue makes him wonder, wonder makes him think, and thinking makes him miss you. Missing you also has a lot to do with how you exit moments. Most people overstay, they linger, they stretch conversations past their natural end. They keep texting until there's nothing left to say. That drains energy instead of fueling desire. Instead, leave on a high note. Exit when the energy is still alive. Let him wish the moment lasted longer. That longing will follow him into the silence. It's like leaving a party right when the music is still good. You're remembered with energy, not exhaustion. What truly makes someone ache in your absence is when they realize your value isn't easily replaced. And value comes from uniqueness. Don't try to fit into what you think he wants. Don't try to mold yourself into a version of the perfect partner. That only makes you blend in with the countless others who are doing the same thing. Instead, amplify what makes you different. Embrace the quirks, the passions, the perspectives that set you apart. It's your uniqueness that makes you unforgettable, not your conformity. And finally, never forget that the greatest magnetism comes from freedom. When you embody freedom, freedom in your choices, freedom in your energy, freedom in your ability to walk away from anything that doesn't align, you create both respect and desire. He misses you not because you've trapped him, but because you've liberated yourself, because you've shown him that being with you is a choice, not a necessity. And choice is powerful. When someone knows you don't need them but still choose them, that's when they realize they never want to lose you. And choice is powerful when someone feels that your presence in their life is not guaranteed but consciously chosen. It ignites a deep appreciation. It shifts the dynamic. Instead of assuming you'll always be there, they begin to treasure the moments you share. They notice the subtleties, they savor the conversations, they replay the memories in their mind because they recognize the rarity of having someone who doesn't cling, who doesn't beg, but who simply chooses to give. That recognition is the soil where longing grows. There's a reason why scarcity drives value. We desire what we can't endlessly consume. Imagine if your favorite food were available in unlimited supply at every corner, every moment, for free. After a while, it would lose its magic. But when it's rare, when it's something you can't have all the time, you crave it. The same applies to people. If you're too readily available, too predictable, too constant, the urgency to miss you fades. But if you create scarcity, not by withholding love, but by living a full life, you become infinitely more desirable. Scarcity is not coldness. Scarcity is not punishment. Scarcity is the natural result of a woman who is busy pursuing her passions, nurturing her friendships, creating her own joy. Scarcity is you having things that matter deeply outside of him, things you refuse to compromise on. And when he realizes that being with you doesn't mean consuming your entire identity, but rather being invited into your already vibrant world, he begins to see your presence as a privilege that once gone leaves him aching. Another truth to embrace: people do not miss perfection. They miss connection. If you try to be flawless, you create distance because perfection isn't relatable. What makes someone truly miss you badly are the moments of realness. When you laugh at yourself, when you get passionately worked up over something small, when you show your silly side, when you are brave enough to be vulnerable in a way that most people aren't. These glimpses of your humanity etch into his memory because they're rare in a world full of masks. He doesn't miss the curated version of you. He misses the raw, genuine version who made him feel something real. Missing you also depends on contrast between what you offer and what the rest of the world offers. If he can find the same energy, the same excitement, the same intimacy anywhere else, you're replaceable. But if your presence carries a unique flavor, one that can't be duplicated, he will always long for it. That uniqueness comes from living boldly as yourself. No imitation, no dilution, no apologizing for what makes you different. Think about it. The songs you can't get out of your head aren't generic. They're distinct. They stand out. You don't hum background noise, you hum the melody that moves you. You want to be the melody, not the background. And let's talk about absence. Absence is where missing lives. But absence without presence is meaningless. You can't expect someone to long for you if you haven't created memories worth longing for. That means when you're there, you need to be fully there, engaged, alive, intentional. Don't be half present, scrolling your phone, distracted by insecurities. Give him the gift of your full presence, because the deeper the presence, the deeper the absence, and the deeper the absence, the stronger the longing. Here's a practical shift. Stop measuring your value by how often he reaches out. Instead, measure your value by how you feel when you're with him. If you feel small, drained, or unappreciated, it's not a space where you'll be missed in a way that matters. But if you feel empowered, alive, respected, and free to be yourself, then you're creating the conditions for him to truly miss you when you're gone. Missing you isn't about how much attention you can extract. It's about the emotional imprint you leave. Think also about timing. Timing is everything. Sometimes walking away at the right moment can have a greater impact than staying longer. When you exit with grace while the energy is high, you create a vacuum. He wants more, but you've already gone. That anticipation builds. He replays the last words you said, the last look you gave, the last laugh you shared. The timing of your exit matters as much as the presence you bring. But there's another dimension, your self-sufficiency. People miss those who are independent because their independence is attractive. When he sees that you are capable, that you can thrive without him, it forces him to recognize that your presence is not out of need, but out of choice. That distinction is magnetic. He misses you because he knows you don't rely on him for happiness. You simply add him to the happiness you already create. That's intoxicating. And here's where so many people stumble. They confuse withholding with magnetism. Withholding love or playing games may create temporary intrigue, but it doesn't create lasting longing. Lasting longing is born from authenticity combined with scarcity. It's not about pretending to be unavailable. It's about genuinely being unavailable sometimes, because you're living a life that excites you. It's not about faking mystery, it's about truly being layered, because you're constantly growing, learning, and evolving. Missing you also has a spiritual element. It's about the energy you bring into a space. Some people walk into a room and instantly shift the atmosphere. They carry peace, or joy, or boldness, or fire. That kind of energy lingers. It doesn't fade when you walk away, it echoes. If you cultivate your inner world, your energy becomes unforgettable. He may not even be able to put it into words. He'll just know that when you're not around, something essential feels missing. Now think about laughter. Never underestimate its power. Laughter is medicine, it's intimacy, it's a bond unlike anything else. If you're the person who makes him laugh until his stomach hurts, he will miss you every time he needs that release. Joy is addictive. People crave the ones who bring it into their lives. You don't need to be a comedian, you just need to be playful, light, and willing to find humor in the little things. That lightness becomes a lifeline in his memory. At the same time, depth is equally important. If all you offer is laughter without substance, he may enjoy you, but he won't miss you deeply. Balance levity with depth. Be the person he can laugh with, but also the one he can confide in, the one he can turn to when life feels heavy. That duality makes you irreplaceable. It makes him crave you, not just for fun, but for connection. Missing you badly is ultimately about recognizing that you bring an experience he can't replicate elsewhere. You're not competing with others. You're not comparing yourself to what other women do. You're focusing on embodying your truest, fullest, most magnetic self. That's what makes someone miss you. That's what creates the ache. That's what lingers when the messages stop and the silence begins. And perhaps the greatest truth of all, when you stop trying to be missed, you are missed the most. Because when you release the need for control, you shift your energy. You're no longer chasing or strategizing, you're living. And nothing is more attractive, nothing is more unforgettable than a person fully alive in their own skin. When you reach that place, missing you isn't just likely, it's inevitable.